This is a classic example of major labels doing what they do, which is short-sightedly shooting themselves in the foot and worrying so much about making a penny today instead of a dollar tomorrow. What's up, everybody? I'm Finn McKenty. This is the Punk Rock MBA, and today I'm here to complain. Actually, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to complain. Well, I lied. I am going to complain, but only a little bit, because there's just some super frustrating stuff going on here on YouTube with the whole copyright system. I'm complaining about this not really because of how it affects me in particular, although it is annoying how it affects me, but what really bothers me is how it affects the creative community as a whole. It's hurting YouTubers, it's hurting musicians, it's actually even hurting the copyright holders. So what I'm going to do in this video is talk about exactly what is happening, talk about why it's dumb, and then most importantly, how you can do something about it as a viewer, as a creator, or as the owner of the copyright. So I'll spare you the details of how the whole thing works, from a kind of structural perspective. I'll just talk about how it affects an individual creator. So basically what happens is you get an email that looks like this. I get this one earlier today that says, "Hi, the Punk Rock MBA. A copyright owner using Content ID claims some material in your video. This is not a copyright strike. This claim does not affect your account status. There are either ads running on your video with the revenue going to the copyright owner, or the copyright owner is receiving stats about your video's views. Note, your video is manually reviewed by the copyright owner or someone on behalf of the copyright owner." And then it says specifically what piece of content was claimed, which in this case was a 4-second or maybe 5-second clip of a cover of Justin Timberlake in the video I did about Punk Goes Pop screamo covers. So basically what this email is saying is because you used 4 or 5 seconds of We Came as Romans covering Justin Timberlake, you can never make a dime off this video again. Super frustrating, right? So that's what happens from a creator's perspective. Now let me explain one little detail about what's happening here that's kind of complicated, but it's actually an important one. So there's 2 ways that these copyright claims can be generated. They can be generated automatically, or they can be generated manually. The automatic one, it works on a thing called Content ID. So there's this giant database of songs and videos and whatever that YouTube has accumulated. Every time you upload a video, it checks the video against that database, and if there's a match, it will automatically generate a claim. And you can get around those automatic claims by using really short snippets of it, which I think is actually, that's the way it's supposed to work, right? I should be able to use 4 or 5 or 6 seconds of a movie or a song to illustrate a point. That's fair use. That's how it's supposed to work, right?
Over the past 6 months, I've noticed a pretty big increase in the number of copyright claims that I've received. And all of these claims seem to have a few things in common. They specifically target videos that have a lot of views. The content they are claiming is incredibly short. I've seen music clips as short as 3 seconds be claimed this way. The claims are always filed manually, and they intentionally disregard fair use.
So I actually think the automatic claim system works pretty well. The part that I think is not working is the manual ones. So the way a manual claim happens is that an individual human being has to click a button that says, "This is my content, I own it." For example, let's say that I own the rights to Walk by Pantera, and I'm watching some UFC highlights, and I see that somebody used my song because I own the rights to Walk, and for whatever reason, it didn't get picked up automatically in the Content ID database. I can click a button that says, "I own this song, and from now on, I should get all the future revenue from this video." There's a bunch of federal laws like the DMCA and stuff like that essentially they have to comply with those. So that's why I say this isn't really YouTube's fault. And the labels are paying armies of people to go through all these videos and watch them and manually claim everything. So do they have the legal right to do that? Sure, they do. But I think it's really, really dumb. I think it's super short-sighted, and I think ultimately they're hurting themselves and they're hurting the artists that they represent, and hurting the larger creative community as a whole, and that is what I'm upset about. It should be stunningly obvious to these people. Reviewers, commentators, even people that make reaction videos, as much as I dislike those, the truth is that things like that are the #1 way that people discover new music these days. And when you file all these bullshit chicken shit manual copyright claims on videos, what is that going to do? It shuts off an entire marketing channel that you could be using to promote your catalog. This is a classic example of major labels doing what they do, which is short-sightedly shooting themselves in the foot and worrying so much about making a penny today instead of a dollar tomorrow. Do they not see how stupid this is? As one obvious example of this, Anthony Fantano doesn't use clips, music clips in his reviews for this exact reason, because they're gonna get claimed if he does. Now, you tell me, from the perspective of a label or an artist, which is more valuable to you? The, I don't know, $800 or something like that you might make in ad revenue off of Anthony's video, or having your music heard by the probably several 100,000 people who are gonna listen to this video and take his opinion very seriously. It should be very obvious that getting Anthony to review and share your music with his audience is way more valuable than the tiny amount of money you would make off of ads, right? It's not that complicated.
So pretty much my whole channel got copyright claimed, which I didn't think was possible.
The second thing is that it makes everybody really hate them. And like, guess what, labels? Nobody likes labels. Like, labels are always the bad guy. Every story you've ever heard is about a label screwing the artist. People already think labels are greedy assholes. All you're doing is giving tons and tons of ammo to all the people out there that think labels are greedy fuckers, because when you do stuff like this, you're proving them right. So what do we do about it? Well, number one, if you work at a label and you're watching this, if you're one of the people in charge of policing the online landscape to monetize your content, like, tell your people not to file these bullshit chicken shit manual copyright claims over somebody like strumming the first fucking note of a song on their guitar. Like, don't claim that. Like, you're hurting yourself, you're making everybody hate you. Just stop doing that. It's not cool.
Every one of these mails is a copyright claim by YouTube within the hour. So some person was just checking out my videos and flagging them one at a time. Boom, that one, boom, that one, boom, that one. That's mine.
Number two, if you're a creator, do not depend on ad revenue for your income, because that could go away at any time. YouTube can change the rules on that shit with one click of a button. They could just take away your whole income, whether that is stuff like this copyright claim situation. They could say that if you've ever said shit in a video ever, that you're kicked out of the system because they want to keep it like super G-rated so they can get all the big name advertisers on board. Who knows? The point is that they could just click one button and destroy your income, and you should not depend on that. So instead, I think you should find ways to have a direct relationship with your audience, where like events, you could have like meetups, you could do like stand-up or live shows. Like, again, like Anthony Fantano just went on tour. He did like, I don't know, 6 or 7 shows or something. I saw him here and he had, I don't know, probably like 100 people or something, and paid $20 to see him. That's pretty cool. And you know, obviously Anthony is big, but I think anybody can do that if they really put their mind to it. Same thing for Patreon. You might think you're not big enough, but like, even if you have a small audience, I think you can find 50 people or whatever who will support you. And it doesn't take much to offset the money that you would be making from ads. And number three, if you are a viewer, support the creators that you love when they do things like merch or a Patreon or event or, you know, whatever it is. Like, even if you can't personally afford to go to the event, or maybe you can't afford to join the Patreon or whatever, at least share it, talk about it. Like, anything you can do to help spread the word about that stuff really, really helps people. Just understand that this is a precarious way to make a living, because you're basically like, imagine you're on like a hill made of sand that's always shifting, and you never know how, you know, the half that mountain could just like fall apart next month, and then it's like, oh wow, my paycheck got cut in half. So anything that you can do to support your creators to help them get on steadier footing than relying on ad revenue helps them a lot. And speaking of which, I want to thank all the people who have supported me on Patreon at the true cult level or above. Those people are Andy M, Anthony C, Jeff W, Justin H, Nicholas G, and Ryan W. Thank you guys very much for the support. You are true cult fans. And if you're interested in hearing about my Patreon, there's a link in the description. So hopefully that helps you kind of understand what's going on, the difference between the automated claims and the manual claims, and how like frustrating, annoying, and ultimately like self-defeating it is that the labels are making these bullshit claims over a 4-second clip of a cover. Anyway, so thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you very much to everybody who has joined the Patreon. There's a link to that in the description. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Let me know if you have any other ideas on how we can solve this situation. I think it's a really cool discussion to be having. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.